my God, why have you forsaken me? So, whether you're a believer or not, you've probably heard that sentence before in your life. It's what Jesus cried out on the cross almost 2,000 years ago on Good Friday, today, right? Today is Good Friday. And let's dive into that a little bit today because there's some misconceptions around this sentence. So, Jesus cried this out, but back then, you have to remember there wasn't, chapters and verses when it came to the Old Testament. So what Jesus was doing is he was pointing people back towards that passage, to that prophecy that was written over 100 years before this event, and saying, I'm fulfilling this prophecy. He was bringing it back to people's minds. Now, through the Holy Spirit, David, he wrote this because of what was having, what had to happen. Because there's so much more deeper that's going into this, theologically. So from the beginning, Jesus has had an unbroken relationship with the Father, right? Perfect. Never any silence, never any moment of separation, never a break in their communion. But at the cross, that changed because Jesus was bearing all sin for the entire history of humanity, back, past, present, and future. He was bearing all of that sin, your sin, my sin. He didn't have any sin. He lived a perfect life. And because of that, he was able to make this sacrifice. You have to remember, God is holy. So God couldn't look upon sin, which is what Jesus was bearing every sin, as if he had committed every sin that humanity would ever commit and has ever committed. In that moment, he was turning away in wrath. He was pouring out his wrath on the Son as a substitute for sinners. It was judgment. Jesus wasn't confused. He wasn't losing faith in his mission and the sacrifice and this atonement, but he was expressing real agony of being treated as if he had committed all of the sins, your sin, my sin, and every other sin out there. So that's the cost of redemption. That's what Jesus went through for us. But the glory of Easter is that that wasn't the end of the story. 3 days later, what happened? Jesus rose from the dead. He proved that the sacrifice was accepted. It was paid for in full. Sin was paid for, death was defeated, and Jesus had triumphantly performed this sacrifice. So when you hear the words on the cross, you don't hear defeat. You hear substitution. You hear love. You hear the price of salvation, the cost that it cost Jesus Christ, but he paid it gladly. He volunteered and he paid it in full for us. So the most amazing gift was given to us almost 2,000 years ago. On Easter, we rejoice because of the one who was forsaken is now risen. He's reigning and he's calling sinners to himself.